Every night at exactly 3 a.m., Marcy would wake up, drenched in sweat, her heart pounding like a drum. It had been this way for weeks, ever since she moved into the old Victorian house at the edge of town. The locals had warned her about the place, but Marcy, a rational woman, didn't believe in ghost stories. She brushed off the rumors as superstitions and settled into her new home with ease. That was until the dreams began. In the dreams, Marcy would find herself standing in front of the large antique mirror in her bedroom. The frame was intricately carved with strange symbols, ones she had never seen before. The glass, old and warped, seemed to distort everything reflected in it. But it wasn't the mirror itself that terrified her, it was what she saw within it. Each night, at 3 a.m. sharp, Marcy would dream that she was staring at her own reflection. At first, everything appeared normal, but then, slowly, the reflection would start to change. Her image would smile, even though her own face remained neutral. The smile would grow wider and wider until it stretched unnaturally across the reflection's face, splitting its lips and revealing rows of sharp, jagged teeth. Marcy would try to turn away, but her body was always paralyzed in the dream, her eyes locked on the mirror. The reflection would then step forward, its hand pressing against the glass, as if trying to push through to the other side. Each night, the reflection came closer and closer, its eyes darkening into empty voids, its smile growing more sinister. One night, as the reflection's hand nearly breached the glass, Marcy jolted awake, gasping for breath. She knew something was wrong. The dreams felt too real, too vivid. The sense of dread lingered even after she woke up. Desperate for answers, she began researching the history of the mirror. She discovered that it had once belonged to a woman named Evelyn Blackwood, who had lived in the house a century ago. Evelyn was rumored to be a practitioner of dark magic, and she had vanished under mysterious circumstances. The mirror was the last thing she was seen with. Marcy became obsessed with the mirror. She couldn't bring herself to cover it or remove it from the room. Every night, she waited in fear for the dream to come, and every night, the reflection came closer to escaping. Marcy knew she was running out of time. The reflection was growing stronger, feeding off her fear, and she had no idea how to stop it. On the final night, just as the clock struck 3 a.m., Marcy was pulled into the dream once again. But this time, something was different. The reflection wasn't smiling. Instead, it stared at her with cold, dead eyes, its mouth opening slowly. From its lips, a voice, distorted and echoing, whispered, "I'm coming for you." Marcy screamed, struggling to move, but her body was frozen. The reflection's hand pushed through the glass, breaking the barrier between the two worlds. It reached out and touched her arm, its cold fingers burning her skin like ice. The last thing Marcy saw before she was pulled into the mirror was her own reflection, now smiling wickedly from the other side. When the sun rose the next morning, the house was silent. Marcy was gone. The only trace of her was a handprint, burned into the glass of the mirror, and a new reflection that stared out with cold, dead eyes. And every night, at 3 a.m., the reflection would smile, waiting for the next soul to gaze into the midnight mirror.